Hi, my name is Patricia McClellan Terrell, and I write under the pen name PM Terrell. And I'd like to talk to you about a book that I just read by author Fran Stewart called A Wee Murder in My Shop. For the past few years, there's just been this constant slate of hard-hitting news. And sometimes it's necessary to just kind of check out and go for a different type of drama, one that's far removed from current world events. And A Wee Murder in My Shop is just the ticket. Well, I knew that I had to read this book when I was speaking to the author, Fran Stewart, and she said that it was inspired by the Ghost and Mrs.Muir. Well, that classic by R.A. Dick is one of my all-time favorites, but I had always wished that the relationship between Lucy Muir and Captain Greg the Ghost went much deeper. And I'm very happy to say that A Wee Murder in My Shop takes us beyond what the Ghost and Mrs. Muir was able to provide. The book reminds me a lot of the Ghost and Mrs. Muir, but it also has its own flavors to it. For one thing, the protagonist is modern and she's independent and she owns her own shop. Her name is Peggy Wynne, and Peggy goes to Scotland to purchase some different items and develop relationships with distributors for her shop called the Scott Shop. And while she is in Scotland, she purchases a beautiful shawl that turns out to be almost 700 years old. And instead of inheriting a house with a ghost in it, it turns out that this shawl comes with a ghost, and that the shawl was actually made by the ghost girlfriend or wife, and he is still very much in love with her. Well, while the ghost is also roughly 700 years old, he is frozen in time as this virile 30-something-year-old Scottish man. And now that the shawl has been resurrected, after all of these years, he is like tethered to it. So when Peggy goes from Scotland back to Vermont to her store called the Scott Shop, he comes along for the ride. So here's this ghost that is moving 700 years into the future to the United States, and having to learn all of these things that are so modern and foreign to him. Well, soon Peggy and Dirk, the nickname that she gives to the ghost, are pulled into a murder mystery. Well, the victim is none other than Peggy's ex-boyfriend who cheated on her, and the crime scene is in the middle of her store. And it happens in the dead of night. Someone has broken into the store, and one of the heavy bookcases is pulled down on top of Mason, her ex-boyfriend. Well, we're introduced to a cast of characters, some of whom work in the store, some of whom live nearby, and some of whom have their own secrets. So we're really left guessing who killed Mason and why, and most importantly, why did it happen smack dab in the middle of Peggy's shop? Well, the investigator is also a modern-day love throb named Harper, and I found myself caught between wishing for this magical relationship between Peggy and her ghost and the more realistic love affair with Harper. Well, the author reeled me in, and I could visualize this quaint Vermont village with its complete Scottish theme. You know, the rows of gift shops and cozy restaurants and steady stream of tourists, you know, so much so that I wish I knew if it was based on a real town so that I could go and visit it. There are ample clues, and there's also some red herrings. So throughout the book and throughout the twists and turns, everything is woven together so expertly that I really didn't know how this book was going to end and how all of the pieces were going to fit in together. Well, the book is truly entertaining. It's a fun read, and it's a great escape. We don't learn exactly why Dirk is tethered to this shawl, which turns out to be just fine, because as it turns out, this is only the first in the series called the Scott Shop Mystery Series. I was very happy to discover that Peggy, her ghost, and her new love interest have all been set up very nicely for the sequel. It's rather like wrapping up, you know, some details in a television series, but leaving us with a cliffhanger so that we're eagerly looking forward to the next installment, the next series to begin. And in fact, I can definitely see this series as a television series, with this strong, independent woman, the sexy detective, and the equally sexy Scottish ghost. I highly recommend A We Murder in My Shop by Fran Stewart. And I hope to continue these book reviews, so let me know what you think. My goal has been to do one book review a month because I'm a very slow reader. I read certain things, maybe some paragraphs or a chapter, and then I just kind of let it marinate so that I get to know the characters and I feel closer to the storyline. So although I'm a very slow reader, I would like to do these book reviews for you, one a month. Please visit my YouTube channel and also my website at pmterrell.com for more book reviews and more articles about writing and authors.